This is the recording for topic 6-4, linear equation applications. Our objective today is I can write and solve linear equation applications. So our essential question is, how can I write and solve linear equation applications? First, let's begin with the bell work. This is one of the previous problems. In order to solve, we're going to go through our steps, go a line down the equal sign. First question is, do we have parentheses? No. Can we combine like terms on each side? No. Are there variables on both sides? No. So then we go on down to the next step, which is box our variable with the coefficient in front of it. Now we want to get rid of the number that's not with the box, and that's a +6. We do the opposite of +6 is -6. And we are left with 2/5 b in the box. 6 minus 6 is 0, and 10 minus 6 equals 4. From here we have a couple choices. To get rid of the number that's in the box, we have to divide by that number. So we're going to divide by 2/5, whatever that number is. And on the other side, divide by 2/5. So notice I wrote that two different ways. You can either use the division symbol, or you can do the little half line and then the 2/5. Using your calculator, we can solve for b. Continue recording. So in our calculator, we're going to type in 4 divided by, if you remember how to put the fraction in, that's the alpha and the y. Choose number 1, and we're dividing by 2/5. That gives us a total of 10. If you forget how to use the alpha button, then we could have typed in 4 divided by, in parentheses, 2 divided by 5, and it should give us the exact same answer. Now, before we get started, make sure you have your solving equations flowchart, because we will continue to go down that flowchart as we go through and solve our equations. However, the first thing we have to do today is we're going to have to set up the equations based upon the information that's given. So our first example says write the equation for the situation, and then we're going to solve. You're given that the length of a rectangle is 3w minus 4 and the width is w. If the perimeter is 48, we want to find both the length and the width. The first thing we're going to do is draw our picture and label. So draw and label the picture. The picture's already there, so we can just label it. The length is 3w minus 4, and I'm labeling all sides. The width is w. Recall that when you want to find perimeter, perimeter is to add all the sides. So after we have drawn and labeled our picture, the second thing we're going to do is write the equation. So if I'm adding all the sides, we're going to take 3w minus 4 plus w plus 3w minus 4 plus w. When I add them all up, it should equal to the perimeter, which is 48. So the last step then is to solve for the variable. So now this gets back to, let's go through the steps that we have on the previous page. First step is to draw a line down the equal sign. So my equal sign happens to be on the side there. Next, do we have any parentheses? Not the way we wrote this equation, because we just added all the sides. 3, can you combine like terms on each side of the equal sign? So we're going to look at just the left-hand side, and sure enough, we do have like terms that we can combine. So I'm going to highlight my like terms. You may circle or box yours. First one we have is a 3w, combined with a w, combined with a 3w, combined with a w. So that's a total of 8 w's. Then we're going to combine our -4 and -4, or -4 plus a -4. some of you might like to think of it, that'll give us a negative 8. That is going to be equal to 48. So we have just done step 3. Step 4 says, do you have variables on both sides of the equal sign? No, we do not. We only have a variable on one side. Step 5 says box the variable. So let's box that variable. Step 6 says do the opposite of the term that's not in the box. The term not in the box is the minus 8, so we're going to do the opposite, which is add 8. 8w is still in the box, and 48 plus 8 is 56. Step 7, do the opposite of the coefficient in the box. We have 8 times w, so the opposite would be divided by. We're going to divide by the number that's in the box, and that will give us that w is equal to 7. So I'm going to go back in and fill in all the information that it's asking me for. Ask me what's the equation. Your equation can be this full thing, but if this is a test, the equation that's going to be looking for, or that we'll be looking for, is the one after you have combined like terms. So this would be 8w minus 8. Actually, it could be either one. I'm sorry, I'm going to put the long one there. 3w minus 4 plus w plus 3w minus 4 plus w equals 48. Or it can be 8w minus 8 equals 48. The solution is what we actually solved for, or answering the question. So the question is find the length and the width. Well, we know w is equal to 7, so w was our width. The width is 7, but now I need to know what the length is. The length is, well, we now know what w is, so we can go back and plug it in. 3 times 7 minus 4. 3 times 7 is 21 minus 4. 21 minus 4 is 17. So we have now answered the question. That is our solution. Okay, let's go on to the next problem. Ooh, isn't that interesting? Go on to the next problem. We have the perimeter of a triangle is 87 centimeters. And if the three sides are given as x plus 1, 2x minus 1, and 4x plus 3, what is the length of each side? I forgot to add, my last step is to answer the question. Very important. So I'm going to get rid of my solving equations little sheet because I think we all know you have that now in front of you. So if the perimeter of the triangle is 87, again, perimeter is add all sides, and then it's going to be equal to 87. The three sides, we say draw and label. This gives us a drawing, so we can just label. First step is done. Now we're going to write the equation. Well, we add up all the sides. I'm going to show another method. Instead of going sideways, I'm going to go up and down. We have x plus 1, that's one side. 2x minus 1, that's another side. 4x plus 3. When I do up and down, I'm adding everything. The number in front of the x is a 1. So first I'm going to look at just my x's and combine them. It's 1x plus 2x plus 4x. That's a total of 7 x's. Then we're going to look at our whole numbers. That's a positive 1 minus 1 plus 3. That gives me a positive 3. So that should all add up, 7x plus 3 to 87. So my equation can be this entire thing, or I can put 7x plus 3 equals 87. So we wrote our equation. Now we're going to solve for the variable. Draw my line down the equal sign. Since I already added going up and down, I do not have any other things to combine, so I can skip straight to box the variable. We want to get rid of the 3 that's on the same side as the box, so subtract 3 from both sides. Gives us 7x in the box. 3 minus 3 is 0. 87 minus 3 is 84. Now we want to get x by itself, so we divide by the number that's in the box, so divide by 7. And 84 divided by 7 is 12. So we solved for the variable. Now we need to answer the question. The question is, what is the length of each side? So I am not done. This means I need to plug it back in. So one side will be 12 plus 1, that's 13. Another side will be 2 times 12 minus 1, so that's 24 minus 1, which is 23. And my last side would be 4 times 12 plus 3. So 4 times 12 is 48, plus 3 is 51. Our three sides are 13, 23, and 51. Example 3. We have the length of the rectangle is 3 less than 4 times the width. If the perimeter is 54, we want to find the length. So again, first step we have to do is let's label if we can. The length is 3 less than 4 times the width. Notice this is telling you what your length is with respect to the width. So our total unknown is the width. We're going to start off with the width is W. And now it tells us the length is, well, here's my length. It just means it's equal. 3 less than 4 times the width. Less than means minus, but it is also a switch word. I hope some of my classes are saying switch. The 3 goes in the back, and then 4 times the width, well, 4 times W. Now we can label all sides. Notice we only have one variable that we do not know. So first step, draw. Second step, come up with our equation. We're told the perimeter is 54. Perimeter means, again, add all the sides. So let's add all the sides. I like adding up and down, so I'm going to write mine up and down. 4W minus 3. Then we have a 1W for one of the widths. 4W minus 3. And then another 1W for the width. When you add up all your W's, that's going to be a total of 10 W's. When I add up my numbers, -3 plus a -3 is going to give us a -6. So our equation then is going to be 10W minus 6 equals 54. We've come up with the equation. The third step is to solve the variable. Draw our line, box the variable with its coefficient. Next step, get rid of the number that's not in the box with the coefficient, so that's a -6. Doing the opposite is +6. We have 10W still in the box. -6 plus 6 is 0. 54 plus 6 is 60. We need W is 10 times W, so we do the opposite of multiplication, division. So we're going to divide both sides by 10. That gives us W is equal to 6. The last step, the most important one though, is answer the question. So when we answer the question is, what is the length? Our length is equal to 4 times W, so 4 times 6 minus 3. 4 times 6 is 24, minus 3 is 21, so our answer is the length is 21 centimeters. Number 4, we have, in a triangle, the largest angle is 8 more than twice the smallest angle. The third angle is 3 less than twice the smallest angle. We want to find the angles. So now we're talking about the interior angles of a triangle. So our first step would be to draw and label. Notice they're giving you information about the largest angle, but it's with respect to the smallest. They're also giving you information about the third angle, and it's with respect to the smallest. So we're going to let our X, our unknown, be the smallest angle. Choose any one. There's my X. That's the smallest angle. Now we want to say the largest angle is 8 more than twice the smallest. So more than, remember, that's a add. It's also a switch word. So one of these angles, we know it's going to be add. The 8 degrees comes after the add, and then twice the smallest would be 2x. The third angle, so here's my third angle, it is going to be 3 less than twice the smallest angle. So less than Again, another switch word, but less than means minus. So notice it's going to have a minus. Switch means the 3 comes behind it, and then the smallest angle comes in front. Oh, and it's twice the smallest angle, so it's 2 times x. So now we have to remember something about geometry, because we have now labeled our picture, but now we have to come up with the equation. The equation from geometry, we're going to use the fact that we know that all angles of a triangle add to 180. So if I add up all these angles, x, we put a 1 in front of it, 2x plus 8, and then 2x minus 3, add them up. If I add up all my x's, there's a total of 5 x's, and then 8 minus 3 gives me a positive 5. So I know that 5x plus 5, those are all my angles, must add up to 180. We have our equation. And now third step is to solve for the variable. Draw your line, box the variable and its coefficient, get rid of the number that's not in that box. So we're doing the opposite of plus 5, that's minus 5. We still have a 5x in the box. 5 minus 5 is 0. 180 minus 5 is 175. We still got to get rid of the 5 that's with the x, so we have to divide by 5, divide by 5. That gives us x is equal to 35. Last step is to answer the question. So that means we need to find our angles. The angles are, one of the angles is 35. We're plugging that back in. That's our smallest. Then we get 2 times 35 plus 8. Well, 2 times 35 is 70, plus 8 is 78. And then the last one, 2 times 35, again 70, minus 3 gives you 67. So our answer is 35, 78, 67. Those are our angles. Example 5, we have angle A and B are supplementary angles. Given the measure of angle A is 3x plus 12, and the measure of angle B is 2x minus 22. Find the measure of both angles. So in this case, if I draw a picture, here's angle A, 3x plus 12. Here's angle B, 2x minus 22. We have some vocabulary here. Haven't seen it in a while. Supplementary means that it adds up to 180. So I'm going to write this over here. Supplementary, sum to 180. So that means I'm going to take these two angles, add them together. We're going to get 180. If I add my two angles together, that is 3x plus 12, 2x minus 22. Let's add. 3x plus 2x is 5x. 12 minus 22, that is a negative 10. That has to equal to 180. So my equation is 5x minus 10 equals 180. From there, I can now solve. Again, draw your line, box your variable. We have to get rid of the minus 10, do the opposite, it's plus 10. We still have 5x in the box. Negative 10 plus 10 is 0. 180 plus 10 is 190. We have to get rid of the 5 in the box, so we're going to divide both sides by 5. And then that will give us x is equal to 190 divided by 5 is 38. Last is to answer the question. The question is find the measure of both angles. So we have to substitute back in. 3 times 38 plus 12. I would definitely do this in my calculator. This is 126. And second, 2 times 38 minus 22. Yet another one to plug into the calculator gives you 54. So answering the question, the angles measure 126 degrees and 54 degrees. And you can do a quick check. If I add 126 plus 54, we do get 180. Number 6, very similar, except this time we have complementary angles. And so for this case, complementary means they sum to 90 degrees. So again, if I draw my picture, here's angle A. It's 4x plus 5. Angle B is 3x plus 8. If I add them together, they have to equal 90. So my equation will do the 4x plus 3x plus 5 plus 8. That'll give us a total of 7x. 8 plus 5 is 13, so 7x plus 13 equals 90. This is my equation, has an equal sign. So now that I know that 7x plus 13 equals 90, we can now solve for x. Draw our line, box our variable. We're going to subtract 13 from both sides. We still have 7x in the box. Positive 13 minus 13 is 0. 90 minus 13 is 77. Get rid of the 7 that's in the box with the x, and the way we get rid of that is by division, because it's 7 times x, so we got to divide. 7's cancel each other out. We're left with x, and then 77 divided by 7 is 11. Our last step is find the measure of both angles, so now we have to plug it in. So 4 times 11 plus 5. 4 times 11 is 44, plus 5 is 49. And then 3 times 11 is 33, plus 8. 33 plus 8 is 41. So our two angles is 49 degrees and 41 degrees. So let's answer our question of how can I write and solve linear equation applications. Let's go and just look at what we did, the steps that we wrote down. First step we said was to draw and label a picture. So to write and solve linear applications, first we'll draw and label the picture. Second thing we did was write the equation. Okay, a couple things I want to add on there. Perimeter. I can't spell, but perimeter means at all sides. We also had supplementary. Means they sum up to 180. I'm just going to say equal to 180. Well, we'll put sum. Okay, and then complementary. Again, we have the sum to 90 this time. Yeah, I went down my box. And the other thing we had was all triangles. All triangle angles add to 180. Very important when we write our equations. Third step was to solve for the variable. And then our last most important one was to answer the question. Make sure you answer the question. You will be taking multiple choice questions or multiple choice tests. And on your questions or one part of your answers, for example, on number 6, one of the answer choices will be 11. But of course, that does not answer the question. So make sure that you answer the question that's being asked. Okay, this concludes topic 6-4 on writing and solving linear equations.